I love this picture so much. I'm gonna use this for so much stuff. F tier Halite. F tier Halite. Let's see what I got on my timeline. So, couple things. Okay, yes, I'm sunburned. You can look at the V. I was wearing this button-down shirt, and it was like in a V. So you can see, like, yeah, you can see the burn there. I got sunburned. This is a good one. So this is Flowers over here. This is Flowers. Let me zoom in on it. Flowers on the right, me in the middle, Hunter on the left. So I'm staying with, it was me, Hunter, Flowers. Halite is Hunter, by the way. You guys probably know this. Me, Halite, and Flowers in one room. And then there was Ryan in his own room. Mix was on the couch because he's an animal. And then Jonathan and Mallory were with us as well. So that was the crew we were staying with. We got a chance to like hang out with them. So anyways, that's who we stayed with, right? We had a super cool crew, super vibey. Played a little Super Smash. Got a chance to talk to all of them a good bit. So then we had the crew that we like rotated with, because basically we had the whole MFAMBBQ was split up into like two groups of people. You had the people that were there to like meet Nick and like hang with like friends and stuff that were like there for like MFAM. The rest ripped with the gifted out to Brycey. Thank you. Let's go, Brycey. Welcome back into the Gojj squad. And then we had like a crew that was also there for the MFAM and also there for the vibes, but also really wanted to like network and like meet a lot of people. And so we were like rotating all over the place, all around Tampa, like trying to meet up with as many people as we could. So this was kind of our rotate crew that was going around. So this is me, Flowers. This is Miss Petite. This is Mick, Hunter, Bulin, and then Brycey, who just came into the chat and got gifted. So this was kind of our rotate crew, sort of, but in all reality it was like me, Hunter, and Flowers, and then like the girls are in and out, and then you could throw in Riggs in here a little bit too, especially yesterday. So we got to meet a ton of people. Of course, the OG Unifies. If you guys didn't know, Unifies has been in this chat since like, I mean, what are we at? We're at a year already, right, Uni? So yeah, Uni, of course, is the OG in the chat, an absolute legend. Even he was, I already knew he was amazing, like via the internet, but meeting him in person, this man is just a class act, absolute class act. Okay, so this was SEAL Team Rick came up and took a picture with me. SEAL Team Rick is the GOAT because I needed a Florida connect who said, hey, I said, who in the chat or who on Discord like knows Florida well? And SEAL Team was like, I live 20 minutes from the venue. What do you need to know? I was like, hit me with all the right spots we need to go to. So he was the reason we ended up going to Gen X and vibing out. Also, this, you can tell now, this is the reason I got sunburned. My shirt was like a couple unbuttoned, I guess. And yeah, it was bad. I don't know if you guys know this guy. Of course, it was great to hang out with Halite. I mean, you guys know I already met him in person. But we got to spend a lot of time together this weekend, of course. We were rotating together the whole time. And the main reason we were together the whole time, besides the fact that we're like best friends, is also because I got to tell the story of Hunter, okay? This is a good time to tell this story. So Hunter and myself and Flowers were all on the same flights, pretty much. He was coming from Oklahoma, of course, but we were connecting in Charlotte and getting into Tampa around like 1 p.m., okay? And so Hunter texted me like as we're boarding our flight to Nashville. It's like, hey, my first flight was delayed. And I said, okay, like how long? He was like, well, I think it was like an hour or something like that. You know, not sure. I'll keep you updated. I said, okay, sounds good. So I land in Charlotte, and I've got a string of texts from Hunter basically saying all of his flights are delayed. Long story short, his flights from Oklahoma to Charlotte get delayed for 3.5 hours. He finally flies to Charlotte. His flights in Charlotte are delayed another 3.5 hours. So his total like flight, you know, process was delayed 7 hours, and he didn't arrive to Tampa until like 9 p.m. So he was already toasted at that point, right? And then I got to tell the story later of that night, right after Gen X, we went to Miller's, which I'll tell that story in a second because that's a funny one too. We then rotated over to the casino, and we had a great time at the casino. But at the casino, Hunter broke his phone. So he did not have a phone the entire weekend. So I made a tweet. I did like a picture earlier. Oh, wait, there was this picture. I said, hey, this is my friend Hunter. He broke his phone. So if you're trying to link up with him, DM me. So like we basically just were like side by side the whole time. And Flowers ended up staying with us the entire time as well. Of course, I got the chance to meet Doug. This was pretty early in the time when we got to Tampa. Doug is a character. If you guys have never, well, I'll just say this: Doug is a character. You can't miss Doug. Like this dude is. he's a whole vibe in and of himself. Like he just mullet, beers in the hand, talking to every single person you can find. That's Doug. That's a good way to describe it. But again, then this is our Gen X crew. So we saw some people in the chat talking about Gen X, and this was one of the bars that we hung out in. There's Mix, Ryan, Aaron. Aaron's the goat. Ramos is like right here outside of the picture, by the way. Ramos is right here. So, you know, I'm sorry, Ramos. It was great to meet Ramos in person, of course. Unifies Flowers, and then this is Cassie Rose and her crew. I cannot remember their names, to be totally frank, but they were great as well. And then there's like a bunch of other people that came into this bar later. This is the bar that I picked because SEAL Team Rick hit me up and was like, yo, this is a cool place. It was like a 90s themed bar. You can't really see it from this angle, but it was pretty dope. I gotta tell the story of Miller's Ale House because I think it's a great one to tell. We ended up finally going over to Miller's to like meet a few more people, and to be honest, we walked in and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. It was like kind of core MFAM. There was like 50 MFAM people, and like I think, you know, Mix or whoever, like maybe that's been in the MFAM for a really long time, would like know some people there, certainly. But I was like, this is not the place, right? Yeah, it was like a big, massive, like 50 to 60 person friend group inside the MFAM community that I didn't know at all. But anyways, we get there and we go to the edge of the bar. And a couple people come up to us. They were talking to like Brycey and some other people, and it was like me, Hunter, and Flowers and Unifies having a conversation in the corner. And this is where actually Chalas came up to me and was like, hey, it's so nice to meet you in person. So we started talking about tournaments for a little bit, and also I'm saying his name wrong. It's not Chalas. He told me how to say it correctly. Crap. Chalice? Maybe that's it. I'm so sorry. I have been saying it wrong for a year. Anyways, so I got to meet him, which was great. And then this group of guys was right next to us, and the guy goes up to like Hunter and it was like, hey, I need to introduce myself. And he goes, yeah, I got you. He goes, we go by Discord names around here. OG French Fry. No disrespect to OG French Fry. OG French Fry, I know you're probably like a great guy, but I was just so taken aback from that. So the guy goes, OG French Fry. And we were like, brother, I don't know who that is. And also, why are we introducing ourselves with Discord names? But okay, is your Discord name different than your gamer tag? Is your gamer tag and your Discord name different than your Twitch name? Like is your Twitter name different? Like I had so many questions. So that happens, and we were like, okay, this kind of got weird. And then we were like laughing about it for a second, and then this like another group of guys walks up to us and was talking to like the girls that were with us, and then they go over, they look at Hunter, and they're like, dang, bro, you look like a Swedish model or something. They didn't say the Swedish model part. Technically, Cloakzy said that later, but they were like, dude, you look like a model. Like what? And then he goes, okay, I mean, you're good looking, but like KD, what's your KD though? What's your KD? And Hunter just started laughing. He just like literally start laughing and like couldn't contain himself. And I look over at the guy, and I point at him and go, I mean, he's like a 3 KD player. And the guy goes, oh, dang. All right. like that proved his worth. He was like, okay, this guy's better looking than me. 100%. This guy's better looking than me. But like, what's your KD though? You know what I mean? Because like, I'm pretty good. And I was like, this guy's a 3 KD. And he was like, I'm toast. I gotta leave. But he came up to me, and I made a tweet earlier about like guys buying me drinks. Well, he came up to me and was like, yo, what up? And I was like, hey, yeah, nice to meet you. My Discord name's Gojj. It's the same as my Twitter name and my Twitch name. Like, I mean, I don't know what. And he was like, oh, cool. And he like introduced himself. And then he goes, what do you do? And I was like, well, I stream and all that stuff, but I'm like a Warzone commentator. And he was like, oh, sick. So then he like brought his buddies over, and they like grouped up around me, and they go, okay, we need, like, let's hear your voice, like do something for us. And I was like, what? So he was like, do a video of like us three like saying our names about like the game. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Let's do it. So they gave me their names. I like said their names in the string, and I said something like, ladies and gentlemen, blah, 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 $50,000 tournament. And that was like, oh, you know, those three guys, I say their names, and like they came in with a 3-piece, like dropped the team, whatever. It was hilarious. They were like laughing. They like recorded it on their phone, and then they go, all right, let me buy you some drinks. And so the guy ended up buying me like drink. And then I ran into him later in the weekend. He was like, I gotta buy you another drink, Gojj. Anyways, I got bought more drinks by men than women in ever, number one, and men in general of my entire life combined. I got more drinks from men this weekend than my entire life. So we were at Miller's for a little bit, and then we go over to the casino. We were like vibing out, doing all this stuff. I don't even, it's not that I don't remember. I'm trying to think back what Friday night finished with. Ended up around 3:30 at the casino meeting up with Ant. Do you guys know who Ant is? Ant is, first of all, a legend. Ant was at the casino with his cousin, or I think it was his cousin. It was either his cousin or friend. I cannot remember if they were actually cousins or if they weren't. But this string of poker good luck, Taylor was his name, by the way. This string of poker good luck continued. We find Ant at 3-card poker. They were low-key sauce. It was like 3:30 in the morning. And I walk up and I put my hand on, and Hunter was with us as well. It was me and Hunter and Flowers. I walk and put my hand on his back, and I'm like, Ant, brother, so good to see you in person. He's like, let's go. And they're playing 3-card poker. Taylor's absolutely just toasted, like couldn't even hardly get the cards going. And Ant's at the table playing 3-card poker. And the dealer is obviously annoyed that we're coming up to Ant at this point while he's playing, because it's stopping him from playing. And Taylor and Ant are the only two people at the table. And so the guy's like waiting on us, and he's like, come on, or whatever. And we're like, well, okay, fine. And then they deal the cards out, and the dealer, I'm not kidding, he was like actually kind of mad. He was like this. And then he deals the cards, and he goes, he like actually gets so mad. He deals a straight flush to Ant. Ant was doing like $25 bets, and he made like $500 in one hand. It is the highest hand you can get in poker. It was a straight flush in front of him at 3-card poker, which is the same suit and in order, if you guys don't know poker. Right as we come up, and Ant was like, what just happened? And the dealer literally goes, do you know what you just have? What do you have right now? Do you know what you have? And Ant was like, oh, it looks good. And the guy was like, it's a straight flush. It's the highest payout in the game. Like, he was so mad. So the string of poker good luck continued. We hung out with Ant a little bit, and then we ended up going back, falling asleep. And since it was so late, we ended up getting back at like probably like 4 o'clock or something like that, or 3:45. And then no, not 3. We met up with Ant 3:30, so it was like 4:30. And then Mix was asleep on the couch. He woke up when we came in, so then we all talked for a little while at the Airbnb. And those are some of my favorite conversations, like 5 a.m. talks, like all of that stuff. And we go to sleep. The barbecue's in the morning, Saturday morning. The crazy thing about the barbecue was like there was projected like 10,000 people supposed to roll through. It felt like a lot more than that, maybe not. But you were supposed to go get your badges beforehand, okay? So you would like go to certain locations to go get your badges. And there was like, badges at the stadium for like half the people and badges in Clearwater for half the people. And so we went and all did this, right? But Hunter came in really late because of all of his like super, super crazy delays on his flights and everything. And so he couldn't get his badge, and we couldn't grab it for him. So he had to get his badge the day of. Well, Flowers and Hunter maybe had a little bit more to drink than I did. I don't really know. All I know is they ended up sleeping in because we stayed up so late. And so it ended up working out because the line at the actual barbecue was like, you think you know what a long line looks like? You think you know what a long line looks like. And then you see this line, you're like, that's insane. So like Unify's got to the line, and he got there at 10:30 in the morning and didn't get into the stadium until 1 p.m. So you wait in that line, you finally get your name tag, and then you get in. So Hunter and Flowers came really, really late because they were tired. We stayed up till like 6 or something like that, and, drinking and all that stuff. And the line was crazy long. So I was like, look, you guys don't need to hurry over here. Let some of these people come in, and then you can do that. So they finally got in, and the barbecue was great. It was basically on a baseball field. Think of like a minor league stadium, right? And there was this whole the whole infield was where everything was, and then you had the stands where you would like eat food or your drinks or anything like that, and then there was like bars and food up and like concessions. Basically, just think of it like a normal baseball field. The barbecue itself was great because I got to meet so many people, which I'll talk about in a second. But it was like the whole thing was like hurry up and wait. There were so many people there that everything you wanted to do was a line. Bathroom was the only thing I think I did the whole time that was I didn't have to stand in a line. I think the girls side did have to stand in a, actually you probably didn't have to stand in a line in the girls thing because there was way less girls there than guys, which kind of makes sense. But I will say I thought it was going to be like 90% guys, 10% girls at the actual barbecue, and it was like 70-30. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. I was impressed. A lot of people brought their significant other, which was cool. But there was like barbecue food there. There was like brisket and things like that. And then concessions food as well. But like if you're trying to get a drink, yeah, you're sitting in line for 30 minutes or so. So the like main stations and everything down at the bottom of the barbecue, there was like basically the Nick line. Nick came in at like 2 hours into the barbecue probably, and then basically shook hands and took pictures until the barbecue finished, which is wild. He took a break, and I'll talk about that in a second, when like all the rest of the like his crew came in, like all the other streamers came in, but he was up on stage for like 4 hours straight just taking pictures with people, and they didn't give him any shade, which was wild. And there was the line, and Mix and Unifies, but Mix in particular, who got into the arena basically immediately, got in line to take a picture with Nick, just like anybody else would that wanted to go to the barbecue, right? The line was so long. Like Mix got in line at 11 a.m. Nick didn't even walk into the stadium until like 1 or like 12:30, right? And the line was like ridiculously long. Think about a baseball field. If Nick was here, the line went all the way around the outfield and then curved in towards the infield and went in a straight line. And you're like, okay, this will probably take a couple hours to get through. The problem is, number one, there was like one person in line and then like all of their friends. I mean, think about it anywhere, right? Like you're always trying to like, anytime you go anywhere that there's a line, you're always looking for a way to jump in line if you don't have any sort of like hardcore like ethics or morals trying to keep you in a certain spot. Does that make sense? I don't really know how else best to say that. People were in line like crazy. Yeah, Mix was like in line with like the first couple hundred people for sure. But there was like single people that would stand in line, and all of their friends would go and like get in line with him. So it was like, Mick said it the best. The line never really grew in length. It only grew in width. Like people would just like pile in. And then of course people like, you know, would cut line and all that stuff as well. So Mix and Unifies and like a whole crew. I saw a tweet from like, I think it was Steel. I don't know if you guys know who Steel is, but like Steel stood in line for 6 hours straight. The entirety of the barbecue in line to get a picture with Nick never happened, because they ran out of time. It was going to be impossible. And then there was other activities you could do, you know, cornhole, all that stuff, that you would also stand in line for. It didn't take insanely long, but it was line. But what was cool is that like in the infield, if you're not in a line, you were just kind of roaming through, and people would like come up and say, hey, you'd like to get a picture with each other if you know each other. And then like a lot of the other streamers would come in. If they weren't a part of the high intensive core, I knew somebody was going to say something about that. Y'all are absolutely ridiculous. Give me a second. I'm not talking about that. So, like, the not highest level people, I'm talking highest level like Tfue, Cypher PK, 72 Hours, against Temper, like that crew that was up on stage, which I'll talk about, Timthetatman. The like main interior crew that came in streamers wise was like SuperEvan, all the Bbq bros, you know, Santana, like the whole nuke squad was there. They were all like on the infield, Frozone, like in the infield, and people would like gather around them in circles or lines and just like take pictures and stuff as well. And those lines were obviously shorter, and it was really cool to like meet those people if you hadn't met them before. I had met a lot of them over at LA Champs before, so it was cool to just like go up and be like, oh, they're like Gojj, whatever. So I talked with them for a good bit, but then like even like me, Hunter, like, you know, Bricey, people that were just roaming through, like even us were, and not in like a clout way, but just like we're getting recognized, right? Because like I said earlier, when I first started this whole thing, it was all MFAM people that I started the tournament thing with. I would DM MFAM people all the time, and so they'd be like, Gojj, like I played in your tournament like 12 months ago. It was super, super cool. It was like one of the most surreal experiences ever, just like meeting all of these people in person that I've had so many conversations with. So that's what we did pretty much the entire barbecue, as I just roamed and talked to people after like person after person after person after person that I had talked to on Twitter before, or had been in the stream before, or had played in a tournament that I've casted before, like whatever it was. It was really, really cool. And then at some point during the day, like I said, all the other like big names came into the stadium and went on stage. So it was like Cloakzy, Timthetatman, Tfue, 72 Hours, FaZe Temper, trying to think of who else was there. Who am I missing? Cypher PK. And then there were some other like Fortnite pros there that I didn't know because I didn't do a lot of Fortnite. But that was cool. So they went up on stage and Swag, thank you. They went up on stage. People got pictures with them as well. People then were really hopping the line, to get into the front to make sure they get a picture with all of them. Yeah, it was really, really cool. What was one thing that I wanted to say that was bizarre was that Doug and I were together for a decent bit of the day. And there were people that were coming up to Doug and I on Warzone and were like, yo, I found you guys, or I watched your podcast. And I was like, or listen to your podcast. And I was like, what? And they were like, Gojj, like, what's up, dude? Like, Doug, what's up? Hey, the Modern Warzone Weekly podcast is awesome. I love it. Like, thanks for doing what you do. And I was like, oh, wow. I just wasn't expecting like that pull too. Obviously, Doug really realized, which I thought this was cool for him. Doug has never really, I don't think, like consciously realized how big of a reach he actually has. Like, when you have an account that's 400,000 followers and gets the type of interactions that his does, like everybody knows who you are regardless of whether you've shown your face on it. So he was getting recognized left and right just like anybody else, which was really cool for him. And I was really happy for him, and like it revitalized his kind of like mentality about what he was doing, which is great. Overall, a great experience. I did not stand in any lines. I didn't really stand in any lines during the day. It wasn't my scene. I knew I wasn't going to get into it. I know those people had been standing in line for 5 hours and like were really, really wanting to get up on stage. I just accepted the fact that I was not going to get a picture with Tim and Nick on stage. You know what I mean? But I got to meet a ton of people, which was really cool. At the end, like the whole time you're doing these competitions, and this is where Grizzly comes in. Grizzly, if you're still in here, Grizzly's the GOAT. There was like a prize table where you could get like scuff controllers and stuff like that if you did really well playing like cornhole or like doing the free throw competition or pull-up competition or something. Well, the prize table also had some like other like smaller merch, like mugs and like thermoses and like shirts and stuff like that, right? So at the end of the day, they had like a way excess of like products and stuff from this company called Simply Modern, which apparently is from Oklahoma, which is where Hunter's from. And they were just like giving it away at the end. Well, I go up to the prize table as it's happening, and it's like a mad dash. I mean, if you guys have ever seen like a trash can fall over, right? And like trash falls over the place, and like these raccoons come like charging after it and like picking through all the trash. That basically was exactly what it looked like, except it was MFAM. It was the whole MFAMBBQ, and it was not trash. It was like actually really nice stuff. But that's what it was like. So the people were just like tossing stuff out. So we go up there, and I was like, what is this? And I see this guy. This is Grizzly. I see this guy. Grizzly goes up to the prize table and he just starts grabbing stuff, right? He's got like 7 or 8 boxes that all look identical in his hand like this. And I'm walking up like, what's going on? And I like stop him and I go, or I didn't say his name because I didn't know who he was. I was like, what is that? I was like, what is that? And he goes, I don't know. And he just kept moving. He was like not running, but he was like kind of walking fast with these 7 boxes of free stuff. They ended up being like these really cool like Twitch mugs. The fact that I asked him and he just goes, I don't know, and just kept going. It was like, that was the funniest thing in the world. Anyways, we are super sweaty. I've got long hair and it's trying to grow and all that stuff. And like, so the humidity made it all just nasty, and I was just pouring sweat. And so I was like, we got to go shower. So we left the barbecue and went to go shower and just relax. Then we're trying to figure out what the late night plans were. Ended up going out to Soho, which is this really cool area. It was like 7 bars in like a 0.2 mile radius. And we met up with the homie Riggs. Shout out to Riggs, poker guy, gambler, legend, that guy. Yeah. He actually gave me a bracelet. He gave me a little bracelet. Hashtag positivity. Hashtag why not us. Rep it. Rep the brand. Anyways, met up with Riggs, hung out in Soho for a little while. It was really cool. And Brycey and Miss Petite had like split off from us to go hang with SuperEvan, like J Smooth and that whole crew. And so they ended up hitting us up and said, hey, let's come hang out. And I was like, sweet. So we left Soho after like a couple hours, and we're gonna go meet up with them at this bar called American Social. So we show up there, we're excited. It's like SuperEvan, J Smooth, like the crew come in, and then Brycey and Miss Petite, we talked to them for a second, and as we start walking in, the people at the front were like being pretty like particular about showing IDs. Like even like I saw J Smooth try walking in, the guy was like, no, show me your ID. And he was like, brother, do I look like I'm under 20? Do I look like I'm under 21? So we get in, all show our IDs. Hunter's like one of the last people to come in, and he shows him the ID, and the guy like looks at it for a while. And it's an Oklahoma license, which I guess is kind of weird, but not really. Like everybody had different states. Like I was Tennessee, like Riggs was from like New York or some crap, and like I mean everybody's from somewhere different. So like it wasn't that weird that Hunter was showing an Oklahoma ID. So we get there, Hunter's got the ID in the guy's hand. The guy's just looking at it for a long time, and he's like, Then he like shines a light through it. And he's like, And Hunter's like, I promise. I mean, Hunter does not look under 21. He's a big dude. You know, he looks older. He doesn't look like crazy old. He looks, you know, a little bit young on the younger side, but he looks his age. He looks like he's 23. And he's like, not so sure. Let me get my manager to check this out. And so I'm standing there just inside of the bar like, oh God, please, not right now. After this whole like shebang, we drove here to meet up with these people. Like, this is great. What's going on? Flips it around a couple times. The manager comes and looks at it and goes, and the guy goes, I hear him say, you can see the whole Oklahoma through the light or something like that. And Hunter at this point is getting really frustrated. And he's like, look, here's my credit card, same name. Here's my like freaking student ID, like when I was in college with the same name and picture on it. Here it is. And the guy's like, nah. And he like wouldn't listen to any logic at all from Hunter. And the manager goes, nah, but then hands the ID back to Hunter. Which is like, if you've gotten turned away from a bar with a fake ID or without a fake ID, if they think your ID is fake, they're going to keep it. They just weren't sure. They weren't sure enough to keep it. So they decided to hand it back and said it was fake. And so we're like, what? And so like Hunter was like, what in the world? Like, and so he hands it back to Hunter, and Hunter's like, what the heck can I do? And he's like, not freaking out. Like Hunter was being cool about it kind of, but also was like, look, I got to show you all these different reasons why this is 100% the case. And the guy goes, show me your passport. Hunter's like, I don't have my passport on me. We're in Florida. Like, why would I just have my passport on me? Whole thing. So then the guy goes, well, Hunter was like, what can I do? Is there anything I can do? And the guy was like, you can call the police and have them look at it. And Hunter goes, I will. And the guy goes, and Hunter goes, I'm going to go call the police right now. And then we'll come back with the police to make sure I can get in. Like people just like flexing that they have power, I guess. Like it's just super weird. Super weird. So yeah, so he goes back out. He goes back out and I walk out with him. I was like, I'm not letting this man like hang out by himself outside waiting on the police. So we go back out and we call the police. But remember, Hunter doesn't have a phone. So then he's got to use my phone to call the police. We don't know the police's like non-emergency number. So we have to call 911. We have to call 911 and say, yo, this is not an emergency at all. Can you please give us a number that we can call that's not an emergency number so that we can talk to somebody about this? Because that was the only thing we could do. Like the guy was like, we asked the guy at the bar and he goes, no, figure it out. Call 911. And we're like, dude, you're such a rat. Like you're such a rat. And so we call 911. We say, it's not an emergency. I'm so sorry. They give us the number. Oh yeah, sorry. It was Bryce's phone, not mine. Because I had my phone out to copy down the number that they told me. Thank you, Brycey. Brycey was with us as well on that part as well. We finally call the right number and we say, yo, can you please bring a policeman or a police car down to check out the ID to prove that it's real so that we can get into this bar? And they were like, okay, we're gonna send a car down to check the ID, but it could take as long as like an hour. So then we're just like, oh frick. So like Bryce goes back inside and Hunter was like, bro, you don't have to wait out here with me. And I wait out there for a little bit. I then walk inside to see what their plan is. And I go talk to like Riggs and them. And we're just like, this is chalked. This is so beyond chalked. So I like go in and talk to like them. And then as I'm walking like back to see like where he's at and where like Bryce's crew is at, I was like, they start leaving. And Bryce's whole crew was like, you know, we're dipping out. We're going to go to like a different place called the Ritz. And so I was like, after everything that we're doing, this is probably for the better because the police car is probably going to take an hour to get there, right? And so then they leave because the bar was kind of chalked. They leave. They tell Hunter, hey, we're going to this place called the Ritz. And Hunter's like, crap, I got to call the police back again. So we call the police back and say, don't send the car. We're changing bars. Thanks, but no thanks. I had already, I kind of I kind of told the guy, I was like, right before this, I was like, hey, my guy, he called the police. There's police on their way. And the guy went, oh, okay. Thanks. And like, he was totally like this. I did not expect them to do this, but then we're all leaving. So then I was like, whatever. And I didn't tell them the police weren't coming. It was a whole thing. So then we ended up leaving and we go to the Ritz. Well, the Ritz, we didn't know this at the time. We get in the car and we say, hey, we're going to the Ritz. And the guy goes, oh. And I was like, to be honest with you, I thought the Ritz was like Ritz-Carlton. Like, I thought it was like a really nice hotel and there was like a bar or a club there or something. And they were like, he goes, oh. And I was like, what? He goes, oh, the Ritz is like really cool. Like, it's a place to be for sure. But like after about 1:32 p.m., like you really need to be careful. And we were like, what are you talking about? He goes, it gets really sketchy out there, like really sketchy. And I was like, oh, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, no, like I'm being dead serious. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. That's good to know. He goes, literally do not talk to anyone when you go out of that bar. Walk about 2 blocks away pretty much as fast as you can, then call an Uber. And I was like, okay, this is our Uber driver telling us this. I didn't know what it was. So we get there and this place is like club. Like, I'll show you. This is the Ritz. We go into the Ritz. This is the first thing we said. Yeah, it was like rave club. It was like club, right? So we go in there and we're like, okay, this is not what we were expecting, but like, okay, you know, this is where people are going. I guess we'll be here. We go get a drink at the bar, and this place is like sweaty and like crazy loud. But at this point, like, we've all had a couple drinks. We were feeling pretty good. Flowers had maybe a couple more than a couple drinks, if you know what I mean. There was a private area in the Ritz, like one of those places where you buy a table. It was like the only place that you can do it, right? And it was like a little bit of a raised platform amongst like all the people. And there's like a whole like crew there. It was probably like a bachelor party or bachelorette party. No, it wasn't, because there was guys and girls in that. I don't know. It was some group of people like were celebrating something there. And Flowers just steps up onto the stage in there and starts talking to the people in the private party. And just, he like grabbed a drink and was talking to this girl, and this girl Jennifer was talking to him, and she was like introducing herself and like this whole thing. She was like, yeah, I'm engaged. And Flowers was like, oh, cool. Like they're just talking. It was wild. And so we stay there for like 30 minutes. We get the text from Brycey and the crew that we got ghosted hard. You know, shout out to them. They were like, we're not coming to the Ritz. Apparently the Ritz is dead. And I'm like, they said the Ritz is dead. And we go, we're like, oh, if this is dead, I don't know where you guys want to go, but this place is not dead. I will say what my guess is that they had somebody check it out before, and they looked in the front door, and there was like a long hallway till you get to the actual like club. So I was like, I don't know. So we're just like, not dead. This place is very alive. So we were there for like 30 minutes or so. And then we're like, screw this. Let's go to the casino. That's where everybody's been hanging out the whole time. Doug was over at the casino with like all the big names had rotated from. There's like a main after party with like Nick Merckx, his family, and then like close friends and people that were able to get into it. Brycey was able to get into that because she was hanging out with the right crew. They were all over there, and then they all kind of separated from there. And the main core group of people went to the casino, and then there was like a smaller group that was with Brycey's crew was with. And so we then go to the casino at about 2:30 in the morning, or maybe it was like almost 3 at this point. We get to the casino and we start talking to everybody. Doug's there, got a couple drinks in his hand, double fisting. Doug said I can't tell any stories about him, but I gotta tell a couple stories about Doug. Double fisting, and he's like, bro, had like the best night ever. I got to meet everybody. Like, he was like, I got a picture with Tim. I played some blackjack with Tfue. And like the whole time, like, I'm here for the homies. I'm here to vibe out with like me, Hunter, Flowers, Riggs was with us. Like, that was the right crew to hang out with. But I was like, all right, like, we maybe made a mistake. Like, we're going to the Ritz. You know what I mean? So we get to the casino, and the casino was great, and I didn't end up gambling anymore. I was like, I'm up, like, I'm not worried about it. But like, we were having a good time. We got to meet up with a lot of people there, the people that were left. And then we finally meet up with Ant again there at the casino. Now, again, the second time we've met up with Ant at the casino past 3:30. This time he's hanging out on 72 hours. Fallout, who is the MC of the event, And Cloak was there as well. And guess what, guys? I'm so glad I'm married. I'm so glad I'm married because I was hanging out with Flowers and Halite the whole time, who are both like models. Like, they're just beautiful people, right? Of course, first thing we say when we get there, we're like, Ant, what's up, baby? And we like give Ant a hug. Taylor was there, who was all trash again, same guy, right? First thing Cloak says when he comes up to us, he looks at Hunter and he goes, damn, you are a Swedish model. No, honey, let me tell you what I mean by this. I can't get any attention from anybody. I can't talk to a single guy because Halite's right next to me. Flowers is on the other side. And Cloak goes, you are a Swedish model, sir. You are a Swedish model. Like, what? Look, what's up, man? Nice to meet you, Cloak. Hey, I'm Gojj. Like, cool. Anyways, we got to meet up. It was great. We hung out with Taylor and Ant for a while. Talking about all kinds of stuff. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning at this point, and this is where we get all the way back to the beginning, right? So we're like hanging out with them, we're talking or whatever. We're mobile delay too, I got you. And Cloak just keeps telling Hunter, I'm talking, he said it probably 5-6 times at least, telling Hunter, like, you are the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was hilarious, right? And then guess who comes up? From behind us, this guy comes up and he goes, oh, what's up, dude? It's me. Remember from last night? He goes, remember me from last night? And I was like, it's the guy. It's the guy that Katie checked Hunter. And he goes, brother, I gotta buy you a drink right now. It's time. Back to back. And then the other guy came up and was like, dude, I made a Twitter. Like, I'm gonna follow everybody. I was like, yes, let's go. I like downed him up and he went to go try to buy me a drink. The bar was closed. But it was like the most wild, like full circle experience. So we talked to them for a little while. And then it was like 5 a.m. in the morning. We were like, hey, we're gonna try to go to Waffle House. And then we tried to get an Uber. The Uber couldn't find us, even though we're at the biggest, like the only casino in the entire freaking city. And then we got a different Uber, and we're like, okay, we're not going to Waffle House. We're going to bed. And and we get into the Uber. We get into the next Uber, and the Uber was like this older lady. She was like probably like 65 or so, and she was talking to us like we were her children. And she had a dog in the back seat, and so it was like me, Brycey, Flowers, Hunter. And we get into there, and like Flowers in the front seat, and the lady keeps telling Flowers to like lean his seat back. She was like, oh, you're tired, just lean your seat all the way back. And it was like interesting. I don't know, she was a little interesting is the best word for her. I'm not gonna say creepy, but yeah. But she had a dog. It was really sweet. It was Cashmere, the Uber dog. You can literally go follow the dog on Twitter. And we just hung out with this dog. Finally got everybody home. It was great. At the casino before this, I think it was SuperEvan's crew. It was like his brother. They were like talking. There were people at the casino, and somebody like walked up to him and like flashed a gun at them. So of course, like at a couple drinks in, when somebody flashes a gun at you at a casino, you're not gonna casually be like, "What up, dude? Like, get out of here!" Like you start running. Right? You start actually running. So they like literally ran out. I saw a couple people like running away and like towards me, and we like stopped him, and I was like, oh, what's up, boys? And he was like, dude, we just got a gun flashed at us in the casino. I was like, all right, what in the world is going on? It was freaking nuts. It was freaking nuts. So like it was such a big win of a weekend in terms of like all the people I got to meet, from random people that I like kind of knew who they were from Twitter to like the real OGs that have been around forever. Really, really cool.